Hello everyone, so welcome you back to Ashok Tutorials. So we are here on paper 1 environmental studies unit 10, right? So pollution and control of pollution. So what is a pollution? That is the first thing we should ask ourselves, and we already know what are the different types of pollutions, right? So pollution refers to the introduction of harmful or undesirable substances into the environment, such as air, water or soil, right? So air pollution or water pollution or soil pollution, noise pollution. So all these are the types of pollution and which have adverse effect on our natural ecosystem, even on our health and the well-being, right? So it can take various forms, including air pollution, that is contamination of the air, water pollution, that is contamination of the water bodies, then contamination of the soil, then excessive noise that disrupts the peace of the environment. All right, now types of pollution. So what are the different types of pollutions? There are several types of pollutions. Like number one, we have air pollution. So what is air pollution? So this occurs when harmful substances are released into the air. What happens? Leading to the poor air quality. Sources include vehicle emissions, industrial processes, and natural factors like wildfire. So air pollution, you all know the impurity of the air, right? So how it is caused? It is caused due to industrialization, due to heavy use of vehicles, the smoke from the vehicles, smoking, deforestation. So all these causes air pollution, right? The wildfires. So all these are the factors which are responsible for the emission of air pollution. Now water pollution. What are water pollutions? Contamination of water with chemicals, sewage and waste results in making the water polluted, right? So it becomes very unsafe for the aquatic life. Also it becomes very harmful for the human beings, as we are using our water for the daily needs from the rivers, right, from the water bodies. So what happens when the waters are contaminated? The microorganisms, they contaminate the water, and they can result in causing different type of diseases like diarrhea, dysentery, right? So different type of diseases are caused, right? Now soil pollution. What is soil pollution? So soil becomes contaminated with chemicals, heavy metals and pollutants due to agricultural practices. So improper waste disposal and industrial activities. Now what does it say? It says that when we are using a lot of chemicals, when we are using lots of pesticides, all this result in the pollution of the soil. Also improper disposal of the garbage also results in this type of pollution. Now what is noise pollution? So excessive noise from sources like traffic, construction and industrial machinery can lead to harmful effects on health and well-being. Now noise pollution means any the unwanted sounds, right? The unwanted sounds from the environment. So all these are the factors which causes noise pollution. So noise pollution is not good for human beings as well as for the animals, right? So we should take care that we reduce the noise to the minimum level as much as possible. Now light pollution. What is light pollution? Excessive or misdirected artificial light in urban areas can disrupt natural ecosystem and affect human sleep patterns. Now see, in urban areas, in big metropolitan cities, what happens? The light plays a very important role, right? So the street lights, the different type of lights, it is always there. So we do not feel that it is night, you know, so much of light is there, we feel like it is still the daytime, right? We do not realize that it has been 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, because types of light they use are very effective. But however, these affects our sleeping pattern, which means we do not feel like sleeping even when it is 11 or 12 o'clock, right? Now thermal pollution. The release of heated water into water bodies from industrial processes or power plants can disrupt aquatic ecosystem by altering water temperatures. Now thermal pollution means cooling down of machines, all right, or using missiles for testing. And also all this, what does it do? It causes a huge amount of water to be heated. It heat the water, resulting in the loss of lives, that is loss of life of flora and fauna, right? So fishes and different type of water animals are killed because excessive release of heat is done into the water bodies. Now radioactive pollution. Now emission of radioactive materials into the environment, so often from nuclear accidents or improper waste disposal, can long lasting health and environmental impacts. Now radioactive pollution, you know, the radiation, emission of radiations, right? So from the nuclear power plants accident caused by it, just like Bhopal case tragedy. I hope you have heard that. So those are responsible for causing radioactive pollution, and radioactive pollution results in radioactive pollution not only affects the human health, it affects the environment as a whole. Now plastic pollution, so accumulation of plastic waste in oceans and other environments can harm wildlife, disrupt ecosystem, and contribute to environmental degradation. Now plastic pollution, so we know that plastics are non-biodegradable, so it cannot be biodegraded. That's why the use of plastic is minimized, or it is banned in several countries, especially like the countries like Bhutan. So it is banned, plastic is banned in Bhutan. So accumulation of these in the ocean bodies, in the water bodies, causes a menace to the wildlife of the water bodies. Right now, visual pollution, presence of unsightly man-made structure or debris can degrade the visual quality of landscape. This is not so important. E-waste pollution, inadequate disposal of electronic waste can release harmful chemicals and heavy metals into the environment. Now also we know that now the present scenario, we are using electronics of different types, earphones, mobile phones, laptops, right? So all these e-waste should be properly disposed of. Each type of pollution poses unique challenges and require effort to mitigate and prevent its adverse effects on the environment. Now all this type of pollution can be minimized only we join hands together and we spread awareness about the harmful effects it can have on the environment as well as the human health. Right? How can we control pollution? Now let us see. So controlling pollution requires collective efforts from individuals, communities, industries, and governments. Here are some strategies to help control pollution. Now see, just 1% or 2% cannot control the pollution. It should start from individuals. All the individuals should join hand together, then they should go to the community level, then industries, and the government should take the initiative to bring the people together to carry out the activities which will reduce this kind of pollution. So one of the best way we have is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So we practice in India this. So it is one of the way in which we are able to reduce the type of pollution. Now reduce emission. Industries and vehicles can adopt cleaner technologies and particles to reduce emission of pollutants into the air. These includes using renewable energy sources, improving fuel efficiency, and implementing stricter emission standards. Now see, reduce emission. Emission means what? The petrol, the diesel we are using in our vehicles are producing different kinds of gases, right? Carbon dioxide. So all these gases needs to be properly disposed of. And how do we do it? We can do it by using or shifting to CNG, or if not CNG, we can shift directly to electronic cars. Right now, waste management. Now whenever we are trying to dispose of the waste, it has to be treated well. So proper waste disposal and recycling are essential to prevent water and soil pollution. So implementing recycling programs, reducing single-use plastics, and promoting composting can significantly reduce waste pollution. So we have to properly treat the sewage, or we have to properly treat the waste from the house and dispose it according to its nature, maybe biodegradable separately and degradable one separately. Right now, efficient resource use. So using resource efficiently reduces the demand for raw materials, energy, and water, which can help mitigate pollution associated with. See, whatever we are using, be it water, be it plastics, we should be very judicious in the way we use it. The papers, right? We should not just use it. We should use it only when we require it, and we should save it as much as possible. Right now, green infrastructures, planting trees, creating green spaces, and implementing urban planning that prioritize nature can improve air quality, reduce heat islands, and mitigate some forms of pollution. Now see, what do we do? On every 5th of June we celebrate World Environment Day. So we are planting trees only on that day. So what we should do is that we should not wait for World Environment Day, but we should plant trees whenever it is possible. And you can, if you cannot plant the trees throughout the year, at least plant one tree on your birthday. Right now, regulations and policies. Now government can play a vital role in creating. Government can play a vital role, all right, in establishing rules and regulations, standards for the. That's why we have, for the control of pollution. That's why we have vehicle pollution certificates and all, but nobody bothered to carry it. But you know, there are certain rules and regulations in which says that if the vehicle is so and so old, so many years old, maybe I don't know how many years, so after that it has to be disposed of. But as you go across Meghalaya, you will find many vehicles which are so old and it produces so black smoke. So what do you think? Our government should take up measures in order to stop these vehicles from plying through the city, right? Because these are the major culprit who are causing air pollution. So you know, now different vehicles have come up, CNG have come up, electric vehicles can come up. So government can look into it and reduce or ban these vehicles which are 50 years or 30 years old still plying in the city, right? So these causes a huge menace to the society. Now what are the public awareness? Now public awareness, see, public awareness means educating the public regarding the pros and cons of using different types of vehicles or disposing of different type of waste. So public should be informed about how this pollution affect the human health, how it affect the flora and fauna, how it affects the animals, how it affects the future generations. So all this has to be taken into account. Now clean energy transition, so this is what I was saying, that we can shift to CNG, or we can shift to renewable sources of energy, or we can just shift to electronic vehicles. Now water treatment. Now before we release water into the drains, or before we release water into the water bodies, it should be treated well, so that what happens, there is reduction in the water pollution, or the reduction of the chemicals. The water should be treated well before releasing it into the water bodies. Why? Because once it is released to the water bodies, it affects the wildlife in the water. Now environmental impact assessments. Now conducting thorough assessment before starting construction or industrial projects helps identify potential sources of pollution and develop mitigation measures. Now before we do environmental impact assessment, like how can we do this environmental impact assessment? We can do it by conducting thorough assessment, which means we can do field visits, we can visit the people, and we can form the communities, and then we can carry out the do's and don'ts for the betterment of the society. Now international cooperation. Now pollution often crosses borders. International agreements and cooperation are crucial to address global pollution challenges such as air pollution and transboundary water pollution. Now international cooperation is also required because many countries in this world are sharing boundaries with one another, right? So different type of pollution needs to be controlled. Now research and innovation. So research and innovation is also one of the very important way in which we can look forward to the tools and techniques for future which will help us to reduce this kind of pollution and make this world a better place to live in. All right, so this was all about pollution and control of pollution. So it is not A M D, it is A and D. So pollution and control of pollution. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.